Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the Within Time program. It is Sunday afternoon, and every Sunday afternoon for the next few weeks, I've got a program called Within Time. So, obviously, I was doing a Within Time program. It was a two-day program. And so what we're doing is every Sunday we get together, a group of us, and we plan our week, okay? We power up our week. And the last program that we had, we were discussing certain things. And I did do a recording of it. It is on my Facebook page, on my SoundCloud. You guys can go see the first recording of Within Time. So what I want to show you guys is if you every single Sunday, now Sunday afternoon, a lot of you guys are either sleeping, watching TV, spending time with the family and that, but what you've got to do is take time to set the week up for success. You've got to take time to set the week up for success, okay? Now, when is that, okay? We have decided for the next, we've got another 3-4 sessions left Within Time. Every Sunday, 5:30, we get together, and it's a few of us, and I speak on certain skill set that we're going to do, and then we share what are we going to do, and what I'm bringing in is accountability. Hey, for this week, I'm going to go and I'm going to make 100 calls, and I am going to go phone the bank, do a bank application, because I'm going to do things. See, the only way you change your life is by doing things, okay? So, if it's the first time that you are seeing this, my name is Eliades. I'm a success business strategist, and one of the programs I have is Within Time, and that's what you are busy looking at now. I'm the owner and founder of the IE International Group of Companies, and I'm the author of the 9 Skills of Success. And I truly believe that everyone is born with greatness, everyone has a purpose, everyone has got more potential than they will ever understand, and everything that's in your way is on the way for you to get to the next step in your life. But in order to do that, you can't just play a wishful game. You can't just wish success onto yourself. You can't just say good words or be motivated. Motivation alone is not going to get you to where you want to get to, right? Motivation is important, but without action, you can't get there. So the reason why we do the Power Up Your Greatness event and Power Up 365 every single day, it is because you got to believe more in yourself. You got to, I don't care what you believe in yourself. Right now, I believe you're not even playing to 50% of your potential. See, you don't understand your potential. You can't see your potential. You can only see what you've experienced. But if there was a program, and every single Sunday, once a week, you decide, listen, I'm going to do something this week. But that thing that you want to do must be backed up by power, your power. That's what I call it, power up your greatness. See, you could go have a dream, and your dream is to pay the bills every month, okay? And let's say your bills is 15,000 Rand. 15,000 Rand. Now, I come and I say, listen, is this your life? Is this it? You're going to work 31 days to make 15,000 Rand to pay your bills. Is that what you are living for? Is that the best you can do? Then I speak about something. Power up your life, and let's zero up your life. Zero up your life means zero up, okay? So whatever money you're earning, if it's money, if it's relationships, it must be measured, okay? So let's just say it was 15,000 Rand, now zero up. Now that becomes 150,000. 15,000 a month or 150,000. Now, how does your life change? If your bills, you have a car payment, you have a house payment, you have certain bills. Your bills is 15,000 Rand, and you're living a good life because you say you pay your bills, you take your kids to school, you have a nice house, and that. But whatever it is that you're going for, now we are speaking finances because it can be relationships, it can be health. So what is your health? Now that 15,000 Rand, that is related to money. What happens if it's your health? It could be your weight, it could be your fat percentage, it could be your fitness, it could be your heart rate, it could be something. So you measure that, right? And now you zero up. You zero up. You power up. You make your life better. You dream bigger. I love saying I'm a dreamer of possibilities. I'm always dreaming of how to grow bigger, become bigger. I never want to settle. I never ever want to settle in my life. When the end comes, let them find me climbing a new mountain. Let me keep pushing to be better. And the reason I want to be better is so that I leave the world better off and I can help more people. Because guys, when you become better, you can offer more. You can help more people. You can give a hand and say, hey man, let me help you up. There's so much more you can do to help others when you have been taken care of. So I speak about power up your greatness all the time. And I today wanted to use an example. Okay, there's something that I follow. I like American politics. Okay, and I got into American politics for one reason. I like marketing. Okay, so what happened is I would go and look at how much is the Facebook campaign of this candidate or this party, and what are they doing? And I would go look at different avenues, different perspectives, different opinions, and I love reading the comments of people. And the reason why I got into that was because of marketing. Politicians are marketing all the time. They are all the time. And who's got the biggest budgets in the world for politics are the Americans. Okay? So right now, let's look at this. Okay. Now it doesn't matter what party you agree on. I want to use this as an example, and you'll see at the end I'll relate it to your life. But this is actually what's really going on in your life. Okay. So who are you going to vote for and why? Okay. Now maybe you listening to this and you don't know much about American politics, but the message will be clear on what I want to share with you today. Right. So there are two main parties. There are two main parties in America. It's Democrats and the Republicans. Okay, and right now there are two presidents going for. There are two guys going to become president, and they have to vote for it, right? And those guys is on this side. It is Trump. Okay, and on this side it is Biden. Right? So you've got Biden and you've got Trump. You've got the Republicans and you've got the Democrats. Now, if I told you that on the 3rd of November, that's when election day is. This is the day that is the elections. Election day, right? So that means the USA has to make a decision. Right? All these people in the US needs to make a decision. Are they going to vote Democrat? Are they going to vote Republican? Now, it happens all through your life that you've got to make certain decisions. There's a decision that you've got to make, right? And I want to use this because I think there's nothing better that makes this point come across, okay? There's nothing better that makes this point come across. So, if you want to vote Democrat, there are certain things that has happened into your life, okay? And if you had to go and say, listen, why are you voting the Democrats? Why are you voting for them? Why are you voting for the Republicans? Okay? Why would you vote for them? And I had two people. Now I see all these guys from Hollywood, they're all Democrats, okay? And they call this a socialist, okay? They call the Democrats, they're saying this is a socialist party, and they call the Trump party the conservatives. Now, as soon as you start putting names to something, you start putting names. Now you start branding something. So are you a socialist? Are you a conservative? Okay. What party are you? And I was looking at the maps. So they had this guy saying, listen, New York will vote Democrats. Democrats will win the New York state. Okay? All right. Texas most probably is going to go to the Republicans. Now, why is that? Why is someone going to vote someone? On the 3rd of November, you've got to make a decision. Which decision are you going to make? Now, you remember there's a saying, who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with, you will earn the average income of your 5 closest friends. Environment is greater than will. Okay? Why do you make the decisions that you make? Now, in the Within Time program last week, I spoke about something about rules and beliefs. Okay? I spoke about rules and beliefs. So where do those rules and beliefs? And I spoke about universe, I spoke about time, and I spoke about rules and beliefs. Okay? And in your rules and beliefs is environment. Environment is greater than will. Environment is greater than will. So this might look like it's a political thing. It's not. It's about how you make decisions. I want to prove a point to you guys. Because right now, you are going to go into this week and you've got rules and beliefs on how this week's going to be. What is success? What is failure? You've got all this concept in your life. What is right? What is wrong? Where does that all come from? Why will you vote Democrats and why will you vote Republican? What are the rules? Why? There are people rioting in New York, in California. There's different states that people are, but people have been shot and people have been killed. Why would someone go and have a peaceful riots? They say peaceful riots. Okay, but people die. Now, what would make someone be so convinced on his thoughts that he would take a gun out and shoot someone? Or he would spit in someone's face and he would believe that he is doing the right thing? Where would that come from? Where would that come from? So, when you are looking at which way you're going to go, conservative, socialist, right or left, good or bad, why are you making the decisions you're going to make? For this week to be successful, you've got to make a lot of decisions. You've got to make a lot of decisions this week. If you really want this week to be successful, every single time you're going to make an appointment, you're going to schedule, you're going to fill up your calendar. That's something we're going to do within time. We're going to fill up our calendar. So when we get together, now we're doing it on Sundays. We're seeing how that's going to go. We're going to fill our calendar. The more our calendar is filled, the more things we're going to make. To fill your calendar, you've got to make decisions. And why are you going to make those decisions? What makes you do what you do? Have you seen those Trump rallies? Have you seen those Trump rallies where thousands of people are going and they're standing in a line? Why would you stand in a line for 3 or 4 hours in a line to go to a convention, to go to a rally and see a man speak for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, but you've been standing in a line in the cold? What makes you do that? What makes you do that? You see, there are 2 things that drive people's decisions to do what they do. And there's only 2 things, right? And it's pain and pleasure. Pain and pleasure. And fear is pain. Okay? Pleasure also makes sure which one's the drive, the stick or the carrot. Will you do more to make 100 million or to save 100 million? These are the questions you've got to ask yourself. Will you do more to make 100 million? If you have nothing, what decisions will you take to make 100 million? But if you have 100 million, what decisions will you make to protect that 100 million? Will you do more to protect the 100 million or to make the 100 million? That's your question to answer. That's your question. Or is it pain? Is it the pain of making it? Is it the pain of protecting it? And what does it mean when you have it? These are all these questions that not one of you will answer it for the same reasons. But human nature has proven there's a trend. Okay? What I want to show you guys is, if I want to know what decision you're going to make on the 3rd of November, I can ask you a few questions. I can ask you a few questions and I can know which decision you're going to make. If I want to see how successful you're going to be in 6 months, in 5 years, tell me what you do with your time. Tell me where you hang around it. I can tell you where you're going to be in 3 years and 5 years. Just tell me what you're doing with your time. Tell me where you're hanging out. You see, if I had to tell you, listen, can you tell me every single day you watch a TV channel for the news, all right? What news channel do you watch? And if it is a Democrat, he's going to tell me he's watching something like, let me just get this thing. He's watching something like CNN, okay? Where a Republican will be watching Fox, okay? So it's the environment, who you're hanging around with, right? Are you hanging around people in Hollywood? Okay? Or are you hanging around people in the oil industry? In the energy industry? Okay? It depends on where you're hanging around with. Do you watch CNN? Do you watch Fox? Are you around Hollywood? Are you around people? Now, if I see your history, because then I want to ask you, if I see your history, why are you hanging around Hollywood? Okay? NBA. All these certain things tell me a bit about you. I don't even need to ask you if you're going to vote Democrat or Republican. I can just ask you, where are you hanging around with? The question that you need to ask yourself, because I really don't care on this, whatever you are, right? It's not about that. It's about where you're hanging around with, and where you're hanging around with influences what you're going to do. It actually dictates what you're going to do. And those are your choices, nothing wrong. Those are your choices of hanging around that environment. But that environment influences the decision that you're going to make on 3rd of November. Now, there's something else here. You see, there are certain rules and beliefs. There are certain rules and beliefs. There are certain rules and beliefs. Now, when I say belief, I'm not speaking about your religious beliefs. I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about the certain rules that you have in your life. And those rules, they come from your conditioning. If you grew up in a Democrat family, you were brought up, and there are certain beliefs. Let's use one that they're busy speaking about, abortion. Okay, so the Republicans are saying you may not have an abortion. Okay, the Democrats say it's your choice. Now you could say, I believe it's my choice. But someone else could have been brought up with religion and say, no, you can't. That's murder. I'm not here to tell you about wrong or right. I'm here to tell you, where does it come from? Where does your belief come from? That this is the way it must do. There's another thing they speak about. The one speaks about open borders. Open borders. Okay? The other guys are building a wall. The other guys are saying open borders. What does that mean? How does that make you feel? No, open borders. Listen, now you can change it to religion. You must look, God says you must look after everyone. Why would you not have open borders? So now you're saying the one is you can't have abortions, but you want to close the borders. Okay? You must invest in the military. The other one is saying no. What about safety? Safety, the police. The one party is saying, listen, let's defund the police. The other one is saying, let's fund the police. What the hell? I mean, these guys, I don't know what to do. And I've got to make a decision on 3rd of November. Guys, your decision, all the time, the media, social media, people are selling you. People are selling to the subconscious. There are certain things that is in your face every day to get you to vote a certain way. You know, they keep saying politicians and the people are lying because Trump is lying. It's all lies. You know, I just want to, you guys can go and look at one event. You can look at the Democrats convention and you can look at the Republican convention. Okay, and then you could say day 3 of the convention and go look at CNN. Go look at CNN. No, his speech was too long. He wasn't, there was no agenda here. And then you go and look at Fox News and say, what a great speech. What a great speech. He had everything included. He had everything included. They're contradicting all the time. Because CNN is a Democrat station. Fox is a Republican station. Of course, they're going to go the certain way. And what happens if your family is a Democrat? Now, all of a sudden, there comes an opportunity. Something comes your way. Something comes your way and you decide to change your choice. You decide you're a Democrat, you decide to go to Republican, or you're a Republican, you're going to try to go to Democrat. Now all of a sudden, the people you love most, your family, there's a judgment. How can you vote for that? How can you do that? That man is crazy. How can you do that? They call Sleepy Joe. Joe Biden, they call him Sleepy Joe. His son went and stole all this money. They gave him money to be on the CEO. They gave money from China. They got money from there. Then you go to Trump and they say, but Trump is only looking after his own families and his own hotels. And then they say he might be racist and he doesn't want to. They start throwing and attacking each other. And all they want is your vote on the 3rd of November. So they could be telling you what you want to hear. They could be telling you what you need to hear, because all they want is really your vote. And then, will he keep his promise? And Donald Trump said the other day, I kept my promise to you. I said I was going to build a wall, I built a wall. I said I was going to decrease taxes. Taxes! Hey, how about that one? There are people Joe Biden has said that he will increase taxes, R1 trillion taxes. And he's ahead in the polls. People are going to vote for him. To me, that fascinates me, because I'm an accountant and tax is a big thing for me. But he's actually telling the people, I'm going to raise your taxes. I am going to charge you. I'm going to collect $1 trillion. $1 trillion. I'm going to collect in taxes and you guys are going to have to pay. And he was ahead in the polls. I don't know how it is today, but he's ahead of the polls. He's on the way to win. And then you have all these Hollywood stars who earn all this money and the NBA people who earn all this money, and they're all voting Democrats. But they're going to pay more taxes. What do you mean? How does that make sense? How does it make sense? Is it logical? Is it logical? Or is it influence? Is it logical or is it influence? That is what you got to look at. Okay? Is it logical or is it influence? Because all the time people are surrounding you, with something to make up your mind. See, they have an agenda. They're living intentional. And the question is, yeah, you are, right? Yeah, you are. So confused. So confused. You don't know. These people are saying this is right. These people are saying this is right. Now you've got to make your mind up. Now you've got to make your mind up. What should I vote? Should I vote for higher taxes? I don't want higher taxes, but it's the right thing to do. My dad, my mom said to me, it is the right thing to do. I must vote X, Y, Z. I mean, my dad, I respected my dad. I loved my dad. I need to vote that way. He knew what was right and what was wrong. Now all of a sudden, and then you get, and you see all this stuff on the news. You see all these riots on the news. And you say, hang on, man, I don't want those rights in me. And then someone says, those rights are coming to you. Pain and pleasure. They're making you feel pain. They're making you feel pleasure. I don't want you. Under my rule, you will not pay tax. Oh, that's pleasure. I love it. Under my rule, you won't see riots. I'll stop the riots. This COVID. He did a bad thing. He stopped the people. So many people have died. Trump has killed all these people. Do you see what happened to the police? And they're just throwing things. Now, what do? What I want to tell you guys is your mind has already been made up through repetition. Your mind has already been made up because over the last 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, you have been doing certain things. Those have become rules and beliefs in your life. Rules and beliefs have become in your life. So how, if for so many years, you have always believed freedom of speech. You believed that you don't believe in abortions. And all of a sudden, here comes a guy and says, you can do abortions. No problem. We will even fund it for you. And then there's another one who says, I don't believe in abortions, I believe in God. And all of a sudden this guy says, we believe in God and we believe in abortions. Bam! It goes there because you've been conditioned this way. You have been conditioned without you knowing. You are being conditioned. You put on the TV, you are being conditioned. You read the newspaper, you are being conditioned. You can say all you want, you have been conditioned. Your beliefs and what you believe is right and wrong has been conditioned into you. Who you hang around with is a decision, but that decision conditions you. Now, let's move away from Democrats and Republicans. Let's move away from that. Let's move into your life. Let's move into your life. What do you think of 100,000 Rand? What do you think about driving a Ferrari? What do you think about a new house? What do you think about resigning from your job and going after that other job that you want? What do you think about this week you should work 16 hours a day? What do you think about working and not getting paid? What do you think about going and listening to a motivational speaker? What do you think about reading books? What do you think about money? What do you think about taxes? Now I'm speaking about your life. Forget the politicians. I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking about your life this week that's coming up. How great do you want? How big a life do you want to live? You see, if you believe that you must go and earn X amount. Now, just because you say something once, doesn't mean it's a belief. Doesn't mean it's a rule. A lot of people that go to motivational seminars says, yes, I'm going to make 100,000 Rand. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to make 100,000 a month, 200,000. I'm going to buy the biggest property. And they say it once. It doesn't become a belief. It doesn't become a rule. Because for the last 20 years, you've been feeling sorry for yourself. For the last 20 years, you haven't played a big game. For the last 20 years, you've been just making excuses and whining like a bitch. That's all you've been doing because that's what they taught you. You must whine. When you go to work, ask your boss for overtime. Ask your boss for this. Ask your boss for that. You don't take ownership. You don't take ownership of your life. You've been doing that for so many years, and you think you're going to say it once because you've been to one seminar, you've read one book, and your life's going to change. It doesn't change that way. Those beliefs and those rules have been embedded into you. You have been conditioned that way. Of course you can change. I know some of you are saying, can I change? Of course you can change. But you must be willing and wanting to change. You must surround yourself with people that empower you. You must step up each day. You must build rituals. You must become rituals, because your rituals become a habit. And when your habit becomes your belief and rules of life, you certainly have a rule. If I say African Americans, right, you have a certain belief. Black Lives Matter, something comes to you, okay? There's certain beliefs that come to you. Where did those beliefs? Question your beliefs and rules. Question them. Don't accept them. Question them every day and ask them, is this working for me? Is this the environment that I want to be in to make my life happen? Not these politicians. These politicians can't do nothing. Really? You think just because Democrats are going to win or Republicans are going to win, that really your life is over either way? Your life is in your own hands. You control. The only thing you're really voting on is your beliefs and systems that you have been conditioned, and you've got to start questioning those beliefs, and you've got to rather change the question to, what do you want out of your life? What do you want out of your life? You want to have a great wife, husband, family, and be happy with a good job, that you can look after your kids, go on a holiday. Maybe then that's what you need to vote for. Maybe then that's what, because that's the environment that your dreams come true. You want to believe that, listen, man, I want to be a billionaire, although I have nothing today. I want to live in a country that gives me equal opportunity, that I can go from nothing to a billionaire within 2 years, 3 years, 5 years time, that the opportunities are there for me. But for that to happen, I need entrepreneurship, whatever. You need to be an actor, entrepreneur, or IT, whatever you're going to do. What environment? You're only voting for the environment, and you can move the world. You can move anywhere you want in the world. But you're moving into an environment that makes you fulfilled, makes you happy, and that you can operate in. The worst thing that you can have is when you stop questioning the rules and beliefs that you have. Because what happens if the rules and beliefs that you have are outdated? What happens if they are outdated? What happens if there's a new rule, there's a new belief that you need to put on yourself? Now, I truly believe in a true north principle. That's why I believe in God. God is a true north principle. But that's my belief. Anything else other than God is not of a true north principle. So in anything that I can vote for, do for, must tie up to that, because that is a belief. Now, many times, is that a belief I want? Is that the religion I want? Is that the God I want? I must question it. And for me, yes. I've questioned that. I can't live a life without purpose. And I must believe that my purpose has been given to me by God, and that I must make the world a better place. And that's the principles. It's a true north principle, because God doesn't care if I'm rich or poor. God doesn't care. God has given me abilities at birth, and I can be and do whatever I want. But I don't want to hang around an environment that doesn't allow me to live and be the greatest I can be. So I need to be around that environment. And as soon as you are imposed not to be the best you can be, because this is what happens. As soon as you become the best you can be, you start serving your environment. You start making your environment better. Right? You need to be the best you can be. Now, it comes down to something with values and principles. Values and principles. Right? If I can be the best I can be, I need to stick to my values and principles that need to have a true north principle. But in the last recording I did, I spoke about something called your needs. You see, people will violate their values and principles to meet their needs. How many times do you see the other day in America, one of the FBI agents, he changed documents. He changed documents. All right, and they just caught him, and he has been, he has said he was guilty, he admitted to it, that he was guilty on that. Hang on, man. This is an FBI agent. Is he really such a bad person that he violated ethics? He violated values. He violated principles. Well, we don't really know his condition. We really do not know his upbringing. So we don't know what his values and principles were. We do not know if they were of a true north principle. But I do believe if you have a true north principle and your foundational values and principle, but here comes the hard thing. If his need was significance, if his need was certainty, if his need was love and connection, and love and connection was promised to him, if he could violate that ethics, then you will do that. Significance, importance. He was going to get significance and he was going to be important, right? That is a need. He will violate his values and principles to meet that need. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening in politics all the time. But I really am not here to speak about politics. I just use that you can relate to. I'm interested in your life. That is what the Within Time program is about. How do we help you look at your rules and beliefs, they become yours, and help you to build rituals that will become habits. And your rituals and habits, if you start doing certain things daily, and they start becoming a habit, if you start doing rituals and you start becoming a habit, that becomes you. Why? Because it raises your standards. It raises your standards. And only people with high standards become successful. Everything you want in your life is available. Right? Everything you want in your life is available. But it's not just going to happen. It's not just going to be given to you. It's not just going to be given to you, right? You got to work for it. But when you work so hard for something and it doesn't come your way, you got to look at the environment. Am I in the right environment in order to get this goal that I want to get to? See, if you want to be a Hollywood star, known all over the world, but you are living, Charlize Theron is a great actor in the world, right? And she comes from South Africa, in a small town. Very conservative family, comes here from South Africa, and she had a dream to be a great actress. She didn't stay in the small town, she changed her environment, and she went to Hollywood. How difficult it is. Very difficult. She's amazing. She's good. She's talented. She's really amazing. But she did the work. And she took the risk. And she created the environment. I actually today don't even believe she will even, if she could vote, be a Republican. I'm sure she's a Democrat. But she came from an environment. I don't know what she's going to vote. I'm just using an example, right? Because what you vote on is certain issues that you can agree on, or certain issues you can never agree on. That is why you've got to be careful who you hang around with. You've got to be careful of the environment. If you know what, if I wanted you to vote Democrat, I'll just tell you, listen, watch CNN every single day for 2 hours until the elections. You most probably will vote Democrat. If I tell you vote Fox, that's one thing Trump always says about fake news. 100% true. 100% true, there's fake news. But it's both ways. Because if you go watch Fox News every single day until the election, you're most probably going to vote Republican. They have an agenda. They are most probably looked after by the Republicans. These guys are most probably looked after by, or they are owned by Democrats. They are owned by Democrats. Okay? Trevor Noah is a great South African comedian. I mean, what a great guy. He has really become successful. You go watch his show. You go watch his show. You will vote Democrat. You will vote Democrat. And he's a comedian. Now, he's going to tap into your emotions, right? And your emotions are going to make you feel a certain way. And as soon as your emotions start feeling a certain way and you start feeling good, you must probably going to start agreeing with that person. But you need to understand you have your own life. You need to build your own beliefs. And you need to know where they come from. Me, I grew up and I had great ambitions because of my dad. He was in business his whole life. I want to be in business my whole life. I have a dream to become a billionaire. That is my goal. That is my dream, to become a billionaire. Why? Because it's my philosophy, in order to become a billionaire, you've got to help a lot of people. So I relate being a billionaire as helping a lot of people. You've got to give jobs. You've got to have your product or service that you provide the marketplace needs to be of value. So therefore, in order to be a billionaire, do you know how many people you need to help? You need to help a lot of people. Do you know how many people you need to give jobs? And what a great need it is to be significant in that way, that you help so many people become successful through your product or service and create so much jobs. Business is a spiritual activity. Do you know what I just told you now? I spoke to you about my belief. I spoke to you about my rules. You could go to someone else. Business. I mean, please, business is all about the owners making money. It's all about money for them. They don't care anything. There shouldn't be business. So that person is speaking about their beliefs. Where did it come from? I just said it came from my dad. It came from my dad. It came from my upbringing. But over the years, I started studying great success people. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay, I started hanging around John Maxwell. I started hanging around Tony Robbins. I started hanging around James Malinchak. I started hanging around Blair Singer. These are the guys I started reading. Grant Cardone. I started hanging around these people and being mentored and started reading their books. Okay, ownership of leadership. I started hanging around these guys. These are the books I've been reading. I'm busy reading that book right now. So these are guys. Do you think they've influenced me? Some guy said to me another time, about a few years, Johnny, you've changed. Of course I've changed. Of course I've changed. If I keep reading motivational books every single month, if I keep reading and YouTubing every single day, I'm on the treadmill and I'm doing a YouTube of Grant Cardone, Blair Singer, John Maxwell, Tony Robbins, and I keep watching that every single day for 1 hour, and I keep reading books on how to become successful, and I start finding ways, and I go look at Warren Buffett. Of course I'm going to change. Why am I changing? I'm reprogramming myself. I'm changing my environment. I'm reading. I'm listening. I'm being a student of the people that I want to hang around. Do you guys see what I'm saying? I can teach you everything within time. I can teach you about the time. I can teach you about the universe. I can teach you to have a great success. I can every single day I can get in your face and say, power up 365. Power up 365. I can teach you so much stuff to be great. But the thing that is controlling your real success is your subconscious, and it is your environment, and it is your rules and beliefs. If you don't understand your rules and beliefs and where they come from, it really doesn't matter what I'm teaching you, because you'll keep going back. I remember a story that Tony Robbins taught us once. There was a guy that his piano was out of tune, right? And so what happened was, I just don't know if it was Tony Robbins himself, but anyway, so he calls a guy over to come and tune his piano. Right now, piano's got all these strings and all that. So what happens was, this guy comes over and he starts tuning the piano. And they're busy playing, and he tunes the piano, and everything is great. Everything's great. So they asked the guy who tuned the piano, do you want a coffee or something to drink? And he says, yes. So they sit down and they have something to drink and all that. Before he leaves, he says, let me just check if it is still in tune. Can you believe it? When he went there, the piano was out of tune. And so what had happened was, he asked, but how can it be out of tune? How can this be out of tune that you just fixed it, we just had something to drink, and now the piano's out of tune? He says, sir, there are these strings. And these strings, this piano was out of tune for so long that these strings were being pulling in a certain direction. And the way I tune it in, I correct it and I tune it by adjusting the tension of the strings, right? And I adjust it, but in the short time that we were drinking our coffee, those strings went back to their old ways. You see, that's exactly what's happening to each of us every day. That's what is conditioning. You have been conditioned to believe certain things from the day you were born. You have an idea, a belief about money. You have a belief about how a relationship should be. You have a belief and rules on how a job should be, on how a business should be, how donations should be, how other cultures, religion should be. Okay? You have a certain belief because you have been conditioned to believe that. And the only thing I ask you today, look at the environment that is busy conditioning you. Nothing wrong with conditioning. I've been conditioned. I've chosen to be conditioned by these speakers, John Maxwell, Blair Singer, Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki. I've chosen. It's my choice. I want to be around those people because I believe I can be of worthy. I believe they make me better. They make me happier. I am more fulfilled being around those people than being around people that play a small game, people that believe in scarcity, people that give up, people that are negative all the time. I don't want to be around. I've chosen who I want to hang around with and who I want to learn from, what books I want to read. I've chosen my environment. I've chosen my influences. And therefore, I believe a certain thing. And I must be comfortable with the belief. But there comes a time in life where you've got to question your beliefs and rules and say, are they still relevant? Is what I believed 10 years ago that came from my father who had that belief for 20 years, is it still relevant? My dad and I used to fight a lot about concepts on how businessman is and certain things. We used to fight about, we had a lot of opinions, on how things should be. Because when I started hanging around those people, I started questioning things that my dad taught me. Now that frustrated him, right? So the more I hanged around other people, the more I started questioning what I'd learned. And I became better on that. Not that my dad was wrong. My dad had his own beliefs and that they just were not mine. But I speak about power up. I speak about greatness. I speak about empowerment. That's what I want to ask you today. Is where you're hanging around, the rules that you have, the beliefs that you have, is it empowering you or is it disempowering you? Is it making you think bigger of possibilities or smaller? Do you have more confidence or less confidence? Are you more happy or less happy? That's all you can do. You go and look at that and you write all the emotions you feel. By having these beliefs and these rituals and these habits, where you hang around with, being around this environment, what does it equal? Speak to people, get an opinion of people. So go ask your friends, am I more negative or positive? Do I speak of great things or small things? Do I speak of just getting by and paying the bills, or do I speak about having great and ambitious things? How do my kids speak? Do I give the people around me, my kids, my family, permission to dream of big things? Or do I get upset when people are dreaming of big things and I want them to come to reality? Can't they see the difficulties that we are going through? You see, these are the things that make you do what you do. That is what's going to make these people decide on the 3rd of November. They think they have a choice to vote. They don't. It's been imprinted to them already. Most people has been imprinted. That's why I'm doing this video, but really not about politics. I care about your life. I care about your success. I care about what are you going to do this week? How are you going to power up? How are you going to dream bigger? What have you got in your life plan? What is your life plan about? Who are you going to serve? Who are you going to help? Is your life only about yourself, or is your life about others? There's so much greatness in you. There's so much potential in you. There's so much that you can do. You can be empowered. You can empower others. You can create empowering environments. There's greatness in you. You can do so much if you choose to do that. And that's why I encourage you to join the Within Time group. The Within Time group is a group of us who get together, create an empowering environment of possibilities. Because if you hang around the right people and you learn of possibilities, of abundance, not of scarcity, of you can be and do anything, and you start learning from great people and hanging around great people, your life will change. And when those people hold you accountable, you will change. So guys, I hope to see you next week. This is the second session we've done with the Within Time. This is the second session. I hope to see you there next week. Guys, look on my Facebook page, John Eliades, Success Strategist. Go to my website, johneliades.com. On my Facebook page, it's free. There's a link. It is on Zoom. It's a Zoom webinar. Join me there next week. Let's take your life to a whole new level and let's create an environment of possibilities. Okay? Cool. This is John Eliades, your Success Business Strategist, and I will see you at the top. Cheers, bye.